Hello and welcome to the Consumer Empowerment Dialogue, the podcast where we have honest, practical conversations about issues affecting you as a Nigerian consumer. My name is Rebecca and I'm your host for today. For those of you joining us for the first time, this dialogue is brought to you by Consumer Advocacy and Empowerment Foundation, CADEF. CADEF is a non-profit working passionately to ensure that consumers like yourself have the information and the power to protect their health, their money, and their rights. This episode is called Too Sweet to Be Safe: The Truth About Sugar in Baby Foods. Now, here's how we got to this point. Walk into any pharmacy or supermarket in Nigeria today, and you'll see their shelves lined with baby cereals, all of them with smiling babies on the packaging. Some even carry the word nutritious. And parents buy these products in good faith every single day. But what most of them do not know is that many of these products contain added sugars in foods designed for babies who have never before tasted sugar in their lives. And this is beyond manufactured products. Even in our very homes, our mummies and our grandmummies, when they're making pap, akamu, custard, they sweeten these meals with sugar, honey, or even condensed milk, because that is what they were taught. Because they say it makes the baby eat well. But the science of what this does to a child's developing body is very clear. It's very clear. And recently the World Health Organization released a guideline. That was 2023 actually. A guideline about how much sugar is allowed for a child under 2 years. Zero sugar. But that's not the reality today. And so CADEF has taken the formal position, and we went ahead and submitted a proposal to the Standards Organization of Nigeria, calling for the adoption of a zero sugar standard in baby foods in Nigeria. But today we want to bring this conversation to our homes. We want to have a plain and honest talk about what this means to us as Nigerian families. And so I have here with me my guests, a medical doctor who spends the time caring for children, working with families, seeing the consequences of what early nutrition does. And I welcome Dr. 𝗧𝗂 𝗧𝗂𝗵𝗀𝗀 to the conversation.
Thank you very much. I'm very excited to be here because this is a topic that has long-term effects even on the health of the next generation. So I'm very excited to be talking about Too Sweet to Be Safe. I love the topic. It's very catchy and I can't wait to get into it.
Oh yeah, we cannot wait to get into it too. But before we get into the conversation about sugar, I want us to start with something very foundational, because I think it will shape whatever we're going to discuss here today. What does the science say? When it comes to feeding a child in their first 2 years of life, I believe they call it the first 1,000 days.
Yes.
What does the science say is best, and how far is the average Nigerian family from that standard?
Okay, so the WHO recommends that children between 0 to 6 months are exclusively breastfed. Then after 6 months, complementary feeds can be included. Complementary feeds like akamu, ogi, and all the homemade things that we give children. But breastfeeding should continue up to 1 year of life. So at that 6 months, complementary feeds are just complementing. They are not replacing breastfeeding. And that is very important because breast milk has a lot of benefits, both for children and mothers. For children, it helps prevent the triple burden of disease, malnutrition, infectious disease, and even chronic conditions. And very importantly, chronic conditions, because we'll make reference to some of it later, we'll go into the science later on. And even for the mother, there are so many benefits: lactational amenorrhea, helping to reduce weight for mothers. You know, during pregnancy, we gain a lot of weight. Breastfeeding can help bring us back to the normal weight. And in addition, preventing diseases like breast cancer, ovarian cancer. So breast milk has a lot of benefits. But what we see is, for the average Nigerian baby, most mothers do not breastfeed exclusively for 6 months. People that even do, they will just stop at maybe month 2 or month 3. I've even seen cases where a newborn, the grandma was like, oh, the baby is crying, the baby needs to be fed. Not even up to 24 hours of age, they've already bought formula for the baby. You know, so we see a lot of things these days because this is what people know, and it is not accurate information. So there's a lot of negative effects of that, you know, jumping to say, okay, the baby is crying because the baby needs to be fed, the mother is sleeping, or even the popular myth that the mother is not producing enough milk. We see that a lot. And people say, I'm not breastfeeding enough, and then they just stop trying. They just go and buy formula and it takes over breast milk. And that has a lot of side effects, both short-term and long-term. Emphasis on long-term, because I mean, you won't see the direct effects now when the baby is 2 years or even 3 years or even 5 years. But at 50 years, 70 years, we start to see the increased prevalence of hypertension and diabetes. Very excited to go into the science. Let me not jump.
I'm really excited listening to you talk. But you know, yes, breast milk, very important. Takes away malnutrition or reduces the rate of malnutrition, infectious disease, and chronic conditions. We know there are some women who, for some reason, are not able to feed, probably because they're sick or they're weak or, you know, something. But these are factors we have to consider as well. But, you know, back to the topic, when we say added sugar, help us understand what it does to a child's body. Because when parents hear added sugar now, what comes to their mind is, sugar is bad. Maybe the child will gain weight, or the child will have a tooth decay. What exactly are we talking about here medically?
Okay, so let me start from the recommendation. Okay, so WHO, the American Heart Association, American Association of Pediatrics, and even the US dietary guidelines, they all say that a child less than 2 years does not need any added sugar. So the recommendation is 0 added sugar for children less than 2 years. If a child is between 2 and 5 years, then we begin to consider, okay, maybe 15 grams, should not exceed 15 grams. But particularly in children less than 2 years, okay, added sugars are in almost everything. Okay, baby food, some baby foods have added sugar. In the pap, the complementary feeds, the pap, the 𝗀𝗂𝗏. Some people say, okay, let us add sugar so that the baby will take it, so that it will be sweet for the baby, you know. By the time they taste it, they say, okay, yes, it's very sweet for me, so yes, the baby would like it. Things like that. Some people will say, okay, the baby is crying and there's only one particular candy that the baby would, you know, that will satisfy the baby. So there's just so many myths out there. But one thing I want to say is, what we train our children with is what they get used to. Those 1000 days are very formative years for the baby. At those points, they need more of nutrients and less of calories. So every feeding opportunity is an opportunity to give them the nutrients that they require. They are growing, their brain is growing, their heart is growing, different parts of their body are growing. So if you use a feeding opportunity in a bad way, you give the baby calories and calories, the baby will be satisfied, right? The baby will not cry for food for the meanwhile, but you've lost the opportunity to actually give nutrients to the baby. So what you do is, first of all, you give the baby the sugar rush. Okay, so the baby has a sugar rush for a few minutes. After that comes the fatigue, and then the next meal again is a sugar rush and then a fatigue. So you are training the baby's metabolism, baby's cardiovascular system to get used to the sugar rush. You are training baby's taste buds to get used to the sugar rush. My mom always says, because she used to, when we were young, she used to sell provision and all that. She said she was particularly impressed with one woman. Every time she comes to buy something, our children don't cry for biscuits and stuff. And then she had to ask the woman, how do you do it? She said she didn't use it to train them. You know, she never gave it to them. She never offered it to them. So they don't know it and they don't want it. So we cannot say, oh, children dictate what they know. We are the adults, right? We dictate what they eat. Particularly because we have the knowledge. We know that this is the detrimental effect. So we should train them to, you know, refrain from all those added sugars.
Focus on nutrients rather than calories.
Exactly.
Wow. But you know, when we still hear the word sugar or added sugar, most people think it's the manufactured products, things coming from the industries. But like you rightly mentioned, mothers making pap, mothers giving the child sweets, biscuits, because that is what they know. That is what they were taught. I mean, the baby enjoys the food because you've introduced the child to sugar. So do you see this a lot in practice? Do you see this a lot in practice, and what do you say to that?
Yes, it's very common, even more common than we know. And many times, even when we advise people that, oh, don't do this, don't do that, they will still go back and do what they want to do. In the home, the voice of the grandma is very, very, especially for a newborn,
very loud.
People don't have the right information. In short, there's a lot of information out there, but they are not accurate. People say, this person said this, my neighbor did this, my mother said this, but those information are not. So even when we advise and say, okay, don't do this, people still go ahead and do what they want to do because that's what they know. So that's why this forum is very important, and the average Nigerian is very important in spreading the right information.
Thank you very much. And on baby foods or baby products, you don't see the word sugar anywhere. Most of the manufacturers tend to shy away from using that word, but it's still there. If it's added, it's there. So what other name should parents look out for? What should they look out for on the label?
Okay, so particularly in baby formula, there's a thing. In fact, I would like to quote a study. There was a study that was done for about 3,500 baby foods in 27 European countries, and the study said most of the baby foods said no added sugar, no added sugar. But when they did the study, they found out that up to 35% of them had added sugars in it.
35% of these products had added sugar.
Added sugars. And it was so baffling that in countries like, European countries, when there's so much advancement, how much more in Nigeria, where people don't actually even vet what's out there. So you start to wonder that, okay, people say no added sugar, but at the back in small letters, you see things like corn syrup, like sucrose, like maltose. Those are sugars, but people don't know those things, right? They don't see the word sugars. So you just believe, and in short, the ingredients are in such small compartments that you actually have to go looking for it to see exactly, to see. So there's so much cryptic, people are trying to bypass, find loopholes in advertisements, so they incorporate things that shouldn't be there, and most Nigerian parents are not aware. They don't know what corn syrup is. They don't know what sucrose is. They just believe, oh, it's part of it, okay, it's normal. But those things are hidden names for sugar.
I even heard of one maltodextrin, even to call the name.
Very complex.
Maltodextrin, dextrose. These are terms that, the consumers should know about.
Yes.
As a parent, this is sugar. This is just call it by the name sugar. And it helps us look at the angle of the manufacturers, the angle of regulation. Because a parent now watching this would say, but NAFDAC approved it. The SON, they certified it. My doctor even recommended it, and it cannot be bad for my child. So that's a completely fair question coming from that parent, because they're doing everything right. So what's your honest answer to that?
I would say be informed, get information. Most people don't know that the recommendation is 0 added sugar. Okay, so as a parent, it's your responsibility to get informed. And it is very horrible to see that NAFDAC and SON and all these things actually approve things that shouldn't be approved. I mean, it's a global recommendation that it's zero added sugar. So zero added sugar is what it should be. So I would say that there's a lot of recommendation for NAFDAC, a lot of recommendation for SUN, a lot of policies that should be put in place actually, so that, I mean, Nigerian parents should be protected. They don't know certain things. So first of all, as a Nigerian parent, try to get informed, know what is ideal, know what is right. And then on the side of NAFDAC, enforce what is right, enforce what is correct. Don't enforce things based on, oh, we've been doing this for the past 15 years. Those are archaic laws, and there are new guidelines. Even as recent as January this year, there are new guidelines on what should be done. So our policies in Nigeria should reflect all these changing policies according to global standards.
Yeah, because you cannot blame the manufacturers now. They will tell you that they are compliant, which is true. They're compliant with our standards. So we are pushing for the standard to change. You know, our proposal is on. We hope for positive feedback over the next few weeks. And you know, while setting the context, I had referred to the proposal even right now, and just thinking about it. Take the time. What would it mean for the Nigerian child, for the Nigerian baby, if this standard is adopted and enforced?
Okay, so I would answer that question by making reference to a study. I love studies. So there was a study that was done in UK looking at about 63,000 children born between a certain year to a certain year. And they looked at, there's something called sugar rationing, which means you adhere to the sugar standards, 0 sugars in children less than 2 years, and the standards for children less than 5 years, and so on and so forth. And they found out that there's a seriously reduced risk of chronic diseases in those children. There's a reduced risk for things like cardiovascular diseases, myocardial infarction, which is a popular heart attack, heart failure, atrial fibrillation, stroke, just by rationing sugar. So that's why I say the health of the next generation is really in our hands. We're not just doing things because, okay, they should be done. We're doing it because the impact is extreme. Just that little effort, just that being conscious that, okay, this is a child, what I give them in these first 1,000 days has a huge impact on the kind of life they live, the quality of life, their risk for certain diseases. For each of these diseases that I've mentioned, the risk reduction was at least 25%.
That's huge.
Exactly. Just by being conscious of what we give our children. Just by saying, okay, no added sugar is no added sugar. 0 added sugar less than 2 years of age is 0 added sugar less than 2 years of age. So I just believe that Nigerian babies have a lot to benefit from it. I mean, we may not see the impact now within the first 5 years, but long-term impact. These days we are seeing so many people have hypertension. So, and not just so many people. Children. I mean, studies have also shown that children that are exposed to high sugar content, they have an earlier onset of chronic diseases, of type 2 diabetes, of hypertension. So imagine what we'll be doing for the next generation. Imagine what our health will look like as a country if we actually adhere to this very small, right? It looks very small and inconsequential, but the effect is very grand.
I mean, what we've even done before, we can see the rates of malnutrition now, the rates of obesity, the rates of children having renal failure. I mean, as young as 5.
Oh my God.
Just because
it's very disheartening, because I mean, before we know that, okay, adults have certain diseases and they know how to care for it. I mean, they are wise enough, they can take charge of their own health. When you see an adolescent with type 2 diabetes, adolescents are just learning life. They don't know why they should take their insulin. They don't know certain things. So it's so much more difficult because, first of all, they are just growing. They have their own challenges and then added to that, the health challenges of managing a chronic condition. So it's just very horrible.
Yeah, the onus is on the parents, the adults, to take the responsibility. I mean, the manufacturers, they have their own agenda. The regulators have their own agenda. Yes, they may say they want to protect your child, they want to protect the consumers, but it is your duty to do right. But it's your child.
Exactly.
It's your duty to do right
by your child. Yes.
Wow. Thank you so much, Dr. Faith. So for the parents cooking at home now, you know, we've mentioned that they have the habit of sweetening foods. What can replace these habits? What should they do instead?
So I would say that first of all, there's no need for the excess when you're preparing baby food. All the spices, adding curry and thyme, we want this and this. Please, we don't need it. Children don't need it. You are already an adult, can do whatever you like. We're here for the children, right? Children don't need it. Okay, they need their food as simple as possible. They need to eat healthy, balanced diets. Okay, by the time they reach the age 5, even before then, you start introducing them to fruits and vegetables. They don't need the extra beverages. With every meal, you give them a glass of something to drink. Please, they don't. Okay, just get a fruit processor and squeeze fruit. It's fine for them. Okay, so prioritizing healthy living for children at that young age, it goes a long way to determine the kind of nutritional life and the habits that they themselves build. You can't expect a child that was exposed to all the sweet things by age 10, by age 5, to now become a 30-year-old adult that wants to now be disciplined.
It's farm.
It doesn't work like that. The body is already trained. Taste buds are already trained to a certain kind of food. Exactly. So we have to be intentional, okay, because it has so many long-term benefits and long-term effects.
Because I know of people who they are in their adult stage, but they don't use sugar to drink teas, drink anything. They don't use sugar. They just, in fact, they don't even take tea because they didn't grow up with that.
With those things.
You see adults taking even children, some children taking vegetables, and they're like, is it sweet? Do you like it? They don't need to. It's good for them.
Exactly.
They don't need to like it.
Exactly.
So you said a child cannot dictate. The child is just coming into life.
Exactly.
They don't know what food is. They don't know what sweet or salty is.
Thank you.
It's still, the emphasis is it is on the parents, it is on the caregiver
to take responsibility.
Yes, and do right by them. So now, parents watching this and they are, oh my God, I've been doing it so wrong. I'm guilty. I feel regret. What do we say to them?
I would say it's not too late to start to adhere to the recommendations. It's better late than never, or how do we say it, right?
Yes.
So start today, okay? Start today, be intentional. You know, you're coming from a background of doing something. It's going to take there's going to be some rebellion, okay? But you can do it.
Relearning, unlearning.
Exactly. You are the adults, right? A child should not go to a supermarket and be crying for something.
Start pointing things.
Exactly. And you know that those things are not healthy for them. Okay, so look for healthy alternatives. Okay. Start to train them, retrain them in a certain lifestyle, and they will learn. They are children. They will learn.
Thank you. Thank you. So our last question for this conversation is, beyond the policy, beyond the proposals, beyond the regulations, what is that one thing you want parents watching us right now to take home? And what would you say to the people who have the power to change the standard?
So first, to the parents, I would say that information is power. The health of our children is really in our hands, and because we know that how we train them nutritionally has a lot of influence on their quality of life, on their risk for chronic diseases, it is our responsibility to take charge. Okay, we should be more intentional. We should fill ourselves with knowledge. You shouldn't just buy things for buying sake. You shouldn't get your information from the wrong people. Oh, my neighbor said this. In this household, this is what we give our children. Based on what, please? Have you actually gone to find out if that thing is healthy? Does it provide the adequate nutrients? Is it Is it more calorie based? Is it more sugar based or nutrient based? To be more intentional, get information and also share information. Okay, enlighten your neighbor, enlighten this person, enlighten that person. That's really how information grows in Nigeria.
True.
You hear something from somewhere, by the time you go to church and tell your
repeat it somewhere
exactly
else.
So please also share adequate information, correct information in that same way. And to our policymakers, I would say that, you know, there should be policies that adhere to the global standards. It shouldn't be, oh, this is how we do in Nigeria. It should be, what does the science say? We should be scientific. We shouldn't be traditional. This is what we do. This is what we've always done. You know, there should be science. There should be research. I always advocate for research in Nigeria. There is no research in Nigeria. Every research I've quoted now
done by someone else.
If people did not come to say, okay, these 3,500 baby products, let us actually audit them to say what they say, is it true? They would not know that some of them are not true. So there should be research in Nigeria. NAFDAC, SON should actually audit these products. Okay, you say it's zero added sugar. Is it really zero added sugar? And people that don't comply should have penalties. They should have taxes.
Yes.
You know, and I would also say that we should prioritize front of package labeling. Okay, we should put what actually is in the front. Why is it at the back? Why is it tiny? Why do we have to put cryptic names that people don't understand? Exactly, transparency. This is what it is. Put it in the front. Let Nigerian parents have the knowledge up front. You know, so there's a whole lot of things to be done. I will also say that to the government. First of all, empower mothers to breastfeed their children, because I mean, breast milk is the best anyways. So for the first 6 months, there should be campaigns, there should be programs that encourage and empower women to breastfeed, to teach the advantages of breastfeeding. And after the breastfeeding period, there should also be programs that teach people how to wean their children. What kind of foods are healthy? How do we transition from breast milk to complementary foods? How do we go to semi-solids and solids? People don't know.
Yeah, because most of this information, I see them on Instagram. Like, I've not seen any government-backed initiative about. Maybe there are, but it's not.
They are not out there. There should be campaigns that are in our faces that this is what you should do. Because I mean, this is the health of our next governors and our next, you know, this is the health
leaders of tomorrow.
Leaders of tomorrow, exactly. So I just think everybody has a role to play, and we really have to be intentional.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Faith. You know, you quoted a lot of studies today, and I'm tempted to ask, I will ask, if you were not a doctor, if medicine was not on the table, what would you be doing?
Okay, that's a very interesting question. I've been thinking about it. I used to think about it. Okay. So first of all, I think I would have been an engineer. My dad wanted me to do electronics. But that's what my dad wanted. But me, I think I would have been a painter. I love to paint and draw. I know.
So the talent is hidden
yes,
somewhere.
Exactly.
But
yes.
I hope you do some painting.
I do. I'll be more intentional anyways.
Alright, we would like to see them. Thank you so much, Dr. Faith, for all that you've shared here today. And I know that our parents are better equipped just by listening to this conversation. A lot of nuggets were shared. I'll leave you with some. First, the first 2 years of a child's life, very important. Whatever decision you make, whatever feeding choice you take, goes far beyond their childhood. I mean, it goes even to to their adulthood. The kind of lifestyle they live, the developmental milestones, you know, the quality of life that they have here on earth. And so we have to be very careful. It's not a small matter. Secondly, sugar is not known as sugar when it comes to baby food. You have to look closely. It comes under many names, and which is why we emphasize that you be informed. Information is key. Knowledge is power. Go read, go research. The government may not undertake research projects as much as we would like them to, but you, because it is your child's health, go do the research. How can I help my child? How can I win my child in a healthy manner? And 3, if you have been doing some of these things we've mentioned, don't feel guilty. Please do not regret. Just go ahead. Now that you know better, go ahead and do differently. We here at CADEF, we're going to keep pushing for the standard to change. But you now, out there in your society, your workplace, your home, your compound, sitting in that bus, do something differently with what you have heard today. And Dr. Faith, I say thank you again and again and again, because the tips shared, even me myself, I've been informed. I now know so much about this matter, and we encourage you, our viewers, to keep following us. There's a subscribe button. Subscribe to the channel, our YouTube channel. Follow us on Instagram, X, formerly known as Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. This episode will be premiered very, very soon on our YouTube channel, so you would want to follow us to get notifications. And with regards to this topic we just discussed, we have an ongoing survey, added sugar in commercially produced baby foods in Nigeria. It's right there on our website's homepage. So you visit www.cadefng.org. www.cadefng.org. So you click on the link, the survey link there, participate, share the survey. She mentioned not just getting informed, but also sharing the right information. So share the survey with those around you. This has been the Consumer Empowerment Dialogue. My name is Rebecca, proud to be your host for today. Stay informed, stay empowered.